I'm also from Pakistan, so it's good to be in a good company, in good crowd. So I was given a little bit of profile of your of the members of the Ontario Seniors Forum. So therefore, I've developed this presentation based on your changing insurance needs for life and health insurance. I don't know if you, number one, believe in these products, number two, you think you should be having them or not, but I'm here just to present the information and you have to decide whether it's something that is worthwhile. I would love some questions at the end of my presentation because that's the whole idea, to share information and share knowledge. Because when we come to Canada, we generally don't know much about all the financial products out there. So this is, why I came over today. So in today's conversation, we'll first cover what is the state of health in Canada, because it's always good to start from the basics. How do I protect myself and my family? The challenges facing newcomers. I don't know why it's not going down in order. What is the right solution for you and your children? Do you really want it or not? How to put this solution in place? What will happen to your lifestyle if you could not work anymore? I don't know how many of you are actually working, how many of you are retired. So that's also something you'll have to tell me. Something that we neglect in Canada is a will. That's really important in this country. Why make a will and how can we help? So let's just start. I'm assuming all of us are first generation immigrants in this room. So when you are new to Canada, I think some of you have been here for a while. These are the first challenges that we face. We are, even if we grow up going to English medium schools, our accents are so different. It's hard to, basically understand and be understood. More importantly, we are not understood because even till today, I've been in this country for 13 years. I have to change my accent when I'm talking to a true Canadian, and when I'm talking to a Pakistani audience, I have a Pakistani accent. So, they are not able to catch what we are saying. Of course, finding a job is the biggest challenge for immigrants. Housing, like, the property prices in Canada, no, it's no secret. It's out of reach for all the new immigrants. Access to services, what are the services that we have and how do you access them? Of course, the transportation issues are there, especially with the cold weather. It's not easy to stand at the bus stop. It's not easy to purchase a car. It's so expensive. Cultural differences. And our kids turn into problem kids. The really well-behaved, well-brought-up children who've come with good values, good parents. They land in this country, they go to public schools and something happens to them, they all become problem kids. I don't know if that happens in your household or not. It's happened in my household. It's a constant, I won't say the word battle, but we are constantly trying to understand their needs and try to turn ourselves into people they can relate to, because there's a gap now. They are Canadians, we didn't grow up in this society, so we are different. Of course, no matter how friendly and kind Canadians say, okay, before I go on, Salim Saab, how long do I have?
How long do you need?
So I can keep talking. You can tell me when to shut up. I'll happily keep quiet. But because I keep getting carried away, especially when I talk to fellow Pakistanis, I like to give as much information. Isolation, I know you all have come up with this solution. You have this fantastic forum. But those who are not lucky to be part of forums like this, trust me, isolation, homesickness can lead to depression, mental health, lot of problems, especially with women. And of course, I don't even want to talk about the weather. It's a sour case in our house. So what is the life expectancy in Canada? It's 84 years for women and 80, like women mostly outlive their husbands. That's a problem for most women because it's really hard in this country. You don't have the support system of your extended family, your neighbors. Your neighbors here don't even look at each other, right? They treat like they're aliens. You go out of your house, especially if they are white neighbors, they don't want to look at you. I don't know whether it's racism or what. They don't enter each other's houses in this country, which I also learned the hard way, because in our culture, anyone who's a neighbor, we start sending them food and we start going over and we start inviting them for tea. I used to do that when I was new in this country. I used to invite my neighbors for tea and I realized nobody's inviting me for tea. So what's wrong with me? Or then I realized that's a country, that's a society. 1 in 2 Canadians will have cancer in their lifetime. Walaikum salam. That's a sad piece of reality, but cancer is the #1 killer in this day and age. 50 years ago, it was not that case, but now cancer is a really big killer. 9 out of 10 Canadians, so if I choose randomly 10 people from this room, 9 of them have at least one risk factor for heart disease and stroke. Every year, 50,000 Canadians are diagnosed with heart. These numbers are from 2023. Sorry, they're a little outdated, but this is the numbers that I had. And 1 in 2 heart attack victims are under 65 years old. So 65 is still young. As you see, the life expectancy is 80. So chances are, if you have a heart attack, you will survive. 75% of stroke survivors will be left with a permanent disability. These are just some hard facts, but it's good to be aware of them, because then you can have a lifestyle to prevent all these problems. The odds of becoming disabled for 90 days or longer before the age of 61 is 1:3. You know, when we think of disability, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Can somebody tell me what is disability in Canada? Can somebody guess?
When you got no income, you should get some
Yeah.
support from the government.
Yeah, no, the government will not pay you if you, they won't pay you an income. They might give you some
But
benefit.
you get this disability insurance and all, you get it.
Yeah, if you have the disability.
It's more about physical disability.
Yeah.
I mean,
But disability, according to RBC Insurance, means physical or mental. Even if you are depressed, you are considered disabled. If you're suffering from anxiety, out of claims that we get for disability at RBC Insurance, 7 out of 10 claims for disability are due to mental health. So if you go to your doctor and you say you are not the best version of yourself, you're suffering from anxiety, depression, you're grieving, somebody loses their loved ones, they are not in a good place, we consider you disabled and you start getting paid for disability. So I just want to, because when I landed in Canada, in my mind, I thought a disabled person is somebody in a wheelchair whose arms and legs don't work, who's completely, dependent. But that's not what disability is. In RBC Insurance, we are the most generous. Our definition of disability is the most generous, because somebody who looks totally healthy, 100% fine, they are disabled according to our dictionary of disability. It could be an injury, it could be an illness, it could be mental health. So just wanted to let people know. So how do I protect myself? I've given you all these numbers, but where do I start? What gaps should I be aware of, and how can I fix it? Because you need to know how to fix this gap. Maybe there is a gap. What is the gap? So that's why I'm here today to tell you what are the different gaps that you have in coverage, because we are all first generation immigrants. We come with minimum resources. When we come to this country, we generally come to give our children a brighter future. But when we convert our Pakistani rupees into Canadian dollars, if we have so much money, it becomes such little dollars. How much financial security can we provide them? Very little. We expect them to go through school, go through university, and then come up with their own resources and stand on their own 2 feet. Because we are first generation immigrants. So that's why financial products are even more important for us, because we cannot provide them with intergenerational wealth that has been built over 3-4 generations. People who've been, for example, living in one country for 4 or 5 generations, they don't need to do too much hard work, because they already inherit homes, property, land. So their kids, when they start life, they already have something to begin their life with. Our children start with 0, because we all here first generation. Let me know if some of you disagree with what I'm saying. I'm just giving you my example and a number of people who I've met through insurance. So life is like 3 legs of a stool, according to me. There are 3 problems that could happen. What if you outlive your savings? What if you pass away early, or what if you have a health event? So either you live too long, that's a problem also. You finish all your money and you're just not dying. Or you die too early, that's also a problem. Chahe ab zinda rahe, chahe mar jaye, problem to hai. If you die early, if you have young kids, your children are completely devastated. Of course, emotional problems we cannot help. financially we can fill the gap. Emotional gaps we cannot fill, unfortunately. Only God can do that. And the third one is health event. What do I mean by health event? It could be cancer, heart attack, stroke, all the disease I talked about. So how do you protect yourself with these three possibilities? Any ideas? Any suggestions?
Life insurance.
That is one way, yes. But life insurance is also sometimes a tricky thing. If you buy yourself 10-year term insurance or 20-year term insurance and you outlive that term insurance, you have nothing left. You're just paying every month, and one fine day you'll say, oh God, I have 1 day left. If I don't die today, my family is going to lose $500,000. So I know people like that. They're saying we better die. I say, you should be happy.
No.
Huh?
Can you extend this 10 years to
No, that's a very good question. That's a very good question. You can't extend it, but you can convert. You can convert a term insurance into a permanent insurance with no medical questions asked. I have a client who has a 20-year term insurance. He just got diagnosed with cancer. His cancer, thank God, is in stage 1, so it's treatable. So he knows that he'll outlive, he will go into remission. But he is no longer insurable. No insurance company will give you any insurance if they know that you have history of cancer, because all the records are with OHIP. And all insurance companies have access to your OHIP record. But luckily for him, he already has a term insurance with us. So he can convert that, zero medical questions asked. So he can convert that term insurance into a permanent insurance so he still wants to have insurance. Of course, the coverage will be much less because permanent insurance is way more expensive than term insurance. So this is what...
कुछ कहने की
जी
इजाजत है?
बिल्कुल, मैं तो चाहती हूँ आप लोग बातें करें, आप लोग कोई सवाल का जवाब ही नहीं दे रहे।
ये सारी बातें जो आप कर रही हैं तो मुझे एक शेर गालिब का याद आ
जी
रहा है।
बिल्कुल, आई एम अ बिग फैन ऑफ गालिब।
ने भी इंश्योरेंस नहीं कराई थी
तो ले कि मुनहसर मरने पे हो जिसकी उम्मीद, ना उम्मीदी उसकी देखा चाहिए।
बिल्कुल ठीक है।
वाह वाह, वेरी गुड। गालिब इज गालिब, you know, like
There's an age limit.
there is a age limit. You can get term. जी कुछ पूछ रहे हैं?
ये पूछ रहे हैं कि मेंटल इंश्योरेंस के लिए क्या प्रूफ करना पड़ता है?
बर्तन तो नहीं मार रहे।
ये प्रूफ करना पड़ते हैं कि अभी आप बिल्कुल ठीक हैं, अभी आप बर्तन
नहीं,
नहीं।
हमारी बीवियों से पूछिए भाई।
हम इसीलिए बीवियों से नहीं पूछते,
बीवियों से भाई नहीं है।
हम जान के बीवियों से नहीं पूछते।
हमारी बीवियां तो 10 साल से कह रही है कि तुम्हारे अब्बा तो पागल है।
एक ने तो मान लिया।
मैं अपने सारे पाकिस्तानी क्लाइंट से कहती हूँ, इफ दे डोंट आस्क डोंट टेल, इफ दे आर नॉट गोइंग टू आस्क द वाइफ डोंट टेल। जो सवाल कह रहे हैं उनका सीधा सीधा जवाब दें, बस दैट्स इट। अगर वो कह रहे हैं कि आप हॉस्पिटलाइज हुए फॉर मेंटल हेल्थ इन द लास्ट 12 months, आप कहते हैं नो, सो यू आर फाइन। सो इसकी एज लिमिट है फॉर टर्म इंश्योरेंस। You can get term insurance before the age of 71, and after 71 you can only get permanent insurance till age 100. So there is a age limit.
Sorry, still you have to pay insurance for...
You have to pay permanent insurance. I'll just go into the details. I'll explain it to you a little more. अभी मैं आपको बता रही हूँ what is a financial house. Foundation of your foundation is always life and health insurance, because जब तक आपकी foundation स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं होगी आपके हाउस की, इट्स हार्ड फॉर द ऊपर वाली स्टोरीज टू बी safe. Then the first floor is non-registered savings, TFSAs, RRSPs. When you start earning, you put money into RRSPs, tax-free savings account. And then the top floor is self-directed investments. These are for savvy investors who know exactly what they want to do with this money, who want to do, because you know, पहले ज़माने में people used to just come and start buying properties. Solution is permanent insurance, the lifetime coverage to protect your family's financial future or to help your heirs pay the capital gains tax on assets, and also if you die too soon, term insurance. So everyone has short-term insurance needs and long-term insurance needs depending on the stage of their life. A young person who's just starting out his life has different needs than somebody who's retired. If I become hurt or injured, there's disability insurance. If I'm sick, critical illness insurance. It has 25 illnesses that we cover. I don't want to bore you with product details right now. Anyone who wants more information, they can contact me. I can come and meet them individually. I don't like to go into product details during my presentations. Basically, what the main purpose of this slide is to say that your needs change over time. When you're single, you have few responsibilities. You don't need term insurance at that time. Maybe you put your money into permanent insurance because it's very cheap when you're young. Insurance premium is directly linked to your age. The older you are, the sicker you are, the more expensive. The younger you are, the healthier you are. You lock in your premium for the rest of your life. To give you an example, my youngest client is 1 year old. I have a 1 year old child. And you know who's paying the premiums? The grandparents. The grandparents wanted to give a gift to their grandchild. Instead of buying them the condo, which is a total disaster, they decided to give them a insurance plan for 10 years. They will pay for 10 years. The child will be covered till age 100. Now, it's not just the life insurance that's the exciting part here. There is capital, there's cash being accumulated in that policy. So by the time that child is 40 years old, he'll have $500,000 of cash sitting in his policies. The grandparents only paid for the first 10 years and they stopped paying. And they're not going to pay anymore. The child will never pay a penny into the policy. And by the time that child is 85 years old, the policy will have 10 million tax-free dollars sitting there. And that is how immigrants like us create intergenerational wealth. We don't have our great-grandparents giving us wealth. We have to create it for our grandchildren. So the best way to create, there are only 3 things in Canada which are exempt from taxes. Any guesses what are they?
Insurance.
Life insurance, lottery. Any chances of winning a lottery? I have a
One in
husband.
a 10 million maybe.
I have a husband who buys a lottery ticket every
लास्ट
week.
ईयर पे टैक्स नहीं इसमें अमेरिका में
You're familiar because there's no investment angle to it. You just keep paying into it. If you die tomorrow or you die at the age of 100, your family will get the money, right? It's not like term 20 or term 30 where if you outlive term 100 means till age 100. Second type is universal life. That's the product which you're talking about, which has a really bad reputation because when insurance brokers and insurance agents are selling that product, they are positioning like an investment product. And that is wrong. I agree with that because this is not an investment product. Because universal life tells the client you are responsible for monitoring the investments in your policy. There is no guarantee from our side. So if the policy is not making money, that's your problem. That is a bad product, I agree. But there's a third one called Whole Life, which we launched 6 years ago and which is a less known product in the insurance because the old brokers don't know about it. It is an excellent product. This is the one I'm talking about, which builds intergenerational wealth because we are giving all the guarantees. Our portfolio managers are handling the investments. We don't give you the right to tell us where to invest. We are taking on the entire responsibility of investment. But at the end of the day, it is still life insurance. It is not a substitute for TFSA or mutual fund. So see, in your whole portfolio of investments, you have a choice, right? Either you do annuities, which is wealth. I'll tell you about annuities as well today. Then there's
People here are plus 65. Normally, that's not the age you buy insurance.
I still have clients who are in their 70s and they buy it. I'll tell you why, because they suddenly realize that what if they die tomorrow, if they have a business and their children inherit their business, their children will have capital gains taxes due on them, right? Then there's final expenses. Even if it's a small plan for $10,000, they don't want their family to be burdened with their final expenses, burial, funeral, and etc. Also, there's a third thing. What if they just want to leave a legacy? What if they want to make a contribution to their favorite charity upon their death? So there are many, many reasons for people to buy life insurance at every age. It depends on your budget and it depends on what you want. At 78, you have very few expenses. Most of your kids have grown up and are independent. Your mortgage is hopefully paid up by 78 because if somebody buys a house typically at the age of let's say 40 and he has a 25-year payment period, by 65 he's paid up, right? So he doesn't have big liabilities. He doesn't need to get $1 million of insurance. He can get $20,000 with minimal payment. At least when he dies, his credit card bills or his taxes or his, let's say, his car loan, any kind of liabilities he has will be paid up through the life insurance. It's not going to be burdening his family members.
But the cost goes up a lot if